So this week we had an article drop about exotic tuning. Being a professional thrower and mid-tier gamer myself, I thought my opinion would be valuable to the masses. That being said, we're going to briefly talk about this in this video. I will be putting in a shameless plug that I will be streaming Tears of the Kingdom tonight when it drops. Even if you can't stay up for the drop, I'll be streaming at about 8 EST if you'd like to pop in for a moment. Alright, so for videos like this, I don't think I'm going to worry about scripting them. I've never really looked at new stuff very often on the channel. You can see that kind of from my past. I'm kind of trying new content. And I think if I'm going to do something like this, I want it to be more discussion oriented rather than pre-made and stuff like that. Because I feel like there's a lot more of like, you kind of get my reaction and you kind of get an idea of like what's kind of the first things that hits my head whenever we're talking about this kind of stuff. So this style of video, if you don't like it, let me know in the comments. Kind of tell me how you all feel about it. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get on into it. Alright, so let's go ahead and just start jumping on into it. So first we got the Hunters. With the Sealed Ahamkara Grasps, this exotic will now reload your weapon magazine of all your weapons. That's a pretty nice buff. When you defeat a target with your powered melee, and for 5 seconds after dealing melee damage, you will gain increased movement speed and jump height. I think it's pretty nice. I don't think it's going to like put it over the top and make it like super meta. Might be kind of fun in something like PvP, you know, you're running around mowing people down with your shotgun or something. You get to a person you haven't reloaded, use a weighted throwing knife, you use it on them. Now it's reloaded, you're ready to go. Kind of something that's already done, but you know, and then you're also going to be faster and stuff like that. I don't think it's anything amazing. Might be pretty good with Amplified, might be kind of fun. Using like combination blows, get a kill. Now you're going even faster with the Amplified. Hopefully it kind of stacks. But yeah, that's a pretty good buff. At least it's not a nerf. I don't think it's going to put it over the top. Athers's Embrace, or Arthur's. You gain an additional strength with an exotic weighted knife. If I could speak, gain additional strength with the exotic's weighted knife damage. Bonus is active. Okay, you're gonna get it back quicker. That's nice. I guess if you ever kind of mess one up or something like that, you don't have to necessarily rely on like, do I have Gambler's Dodge or something? You can really kind of build into that. I'm wondering if that gain additional strength is going to be like, you gain actual stat points, so if you're already at 100 strength, it won't do anything. Kind of like how the font mods work. Or if it's going to be like, you actually gain like strength maybe past 100. Kind of like what I Have Another World does on Warlocks. But we'll see. Oathkeepers is next. When fully drawn, bows gain an increased damage against combatants. That increase as you hold down the draw, but deactivates after a few seconds. That's really nice. I like that a lot. Oathkeepers are pretty fun. The only thing I'm a little scared for about that is how much that increases. It says combatants, so I don't know if that also means against players. Because sometimes I know like combatants means only PvE enemies. They didn't really specify here. Overly passive playstyles. Kind of just skimming through this real quick. Bows have significant buff and damage. Okay, so they did try it at one point, trying to kind of keep it like all the time. That was another thing I was kind of worried about, is the butt deactivates after a few seconds. Hopefully that's not like an awful timer, because that will make it kind of feel a little clunky. Because now you're going to have to draw your bow, and then you're going to have to hold it for a little bit. I'm kind of wondering how this works. Increases you hold the draw. I wonder if it's like a stacking buff, or if it's like you draw and then like a second later you get the full buff. It could kind of make them feel clunky, is what I'm a little worried about there. But we'll see. But anyways, that's nice. I mean, Oathkeepers needed something, and increasing damage to bows is a great idea, honestly. I'm a little worried about PvP side of it, kind of like what I was talking about the combatants earlier, before I kind of got sidetracked. I'm afraid it's going to make some bows a one-shot in PvP, and I don't think it's going to be fun for anybody, but we'll see. Raiju's Harness. When activating your Arc Staff Super, you create a bonding explosion that temporarily increases your arc weapon damage. However, blocking with Whirlwind Guard will no longer consume energy more slowly. I don't know. I don't know that Raiju's can really be helped without like a really hard rework, honestly. Oops, sorry, you're going to hear my chair for a second there. A big thing that I think Raiju's is just going to kind of struggle with for a while is the fact that Gathering Storm exists. There's not really a reason to run Arc Staff, truthfully. And if you're going to run Arc Staff, like, Raiden Flux is just a better idea. If you're wanting to be optimal, I mean, I can understand just wanting to have a little bit of fun. I just don't know that that's really going to help it that much because I feel like other things just do that. And Surge mods exists, and Surge mods are easy to keep up as is. So I don't know. I guess it'll depend on what that increase is. I have read through this a little bit, not a whole lot. I'm not gonna lie, but I know they are talking about like doing like different tiers of buffs now, and they didn't really talk about it with this one. So maybe that means this is like a stacking buff. If that's the case, that might be something to look into. But I don't know. You basically have to sacrifice your super, and like if that increase is meant for like if it's a decent enough increase to like increase your weapons to a point where like it'd be good for DPS, I just don't think it's gonna push it over doing that. Next is Radiant Dance Machines. Kills while your free dodge is active, extend the duration of free dodging. That sounds very fun. That sounds like that'd be fun with like Reaper. No longer deactivates when you get too far away from enemies, deactivates after using Suspending Slam. That is really good right there. I really didn't think about that until they said that, but that would be obnoxious if you could just Suspending Slam over and over. Can you do that right now as it is? I don't really know. I haven't really played with Radiant Dance Machines on Threadrunner, but that would be something I might have to look into. Adding the time, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to kind of skim through this once again. Have free dodges. Yeah, they talked about that for a little bit. The infinite orb generating machine. I do think this is a good change. Again, I don't know that's going to push it over. What I do like about this, though, is if we ever get into a point where we have, like, content with, like, a bunch of, like, meaty enemies back to back to back, this would actually be a great way to get through those enemies without having to use, like, a super or something like that. It'd be just kind of an alternate method. Because imagine, like, you have a bunch of champions that are, like, back to back. They're really meaty champions. You have somebody stunning them, and you just have a rocket, you have marksman dodge, and you use Radiance Dance Machines. You dodge, get a rocket, you kill one. The dodges keep coming. Dodge, get a rocket, dodge, get a rocket. You see what I'm saying? You can kind of just keep doing that with Radiant Dance Machines. So, I mean, that might be nice. It might be interesting. I'm happy that they deactivated Suspending Slam. I think this might be really fun with Stasis, though. Slow dodge and just being able to do that as much as you want, basically, as long as you keep getting kills. That's really, I think that'd be pretty fun. Stompies, I can feel the nerf coming. Removed airborne effectiveness penalties. Okay, well, we'll see. You only gain increased speed, slide distance, and improved jumping while your dodge energy is full. Okay, so I feel like that might have been a little too much. Let me see what they say. Have a strong fantasy, but permanent uptime can make the target hunters in PvP very difficult. Even with prior airborne effectiveness changes, we're undoing that change, but tackling the uptime. Okay, so I think that is a decent change to it. And the only reason that I say that kind of, and we'll kind of elaborate a little bit more on this, Stompies did provide a little bit more than most other movement, like, exotics had. Like, you have stuff like Transversives and Peacekeepers and stuff like that. And a lot of them, they'll be like, they increase run speed, they increase slide, or something like that. But this one increases your speed, your slide, your jump. You see, it really tackles all the areas of movement as opposed to the others. And Hunters already have the most dynamic movement. So they kind of talked about that a little bit. It's very difficult on controller. I don't feel like that's necessarily true. You have really good controller players. There's really good controller players who like make me like wish I didn't play the game when I play PvP. I had to go against Grenadier Jake once, and I never want to do that again. I don't, and I know a lot of times he plays on controller. I don't think that's really the point, but I kind of see where they're coming from, because like you're giving them every movement a bit. You're giving them a buff to all of their like base movement, like all together. Their run, their slide, their everything. So they're kind of making a trade-off for it. So I kind of get that. I kind of understand that. I don't think that's an awful change. I think it's a little too harsh, though. But kind of going back to what I was saying before I kind of lost track there a little bit. Warlocks and Titans, like when they move, outside of like maybe Icarus Dash and stuff like that, but they at least have a cooldown or like Shoulder Charge. Well, Shoulder Charge is soon to have a cooldown, basically. when they move, they jump and then they activate their lift. They're on a very like specific path. It's very easy to track them. With hunters and stuff like that, where you have the double jump, triple jump ability, you really can alter how your like flight path is. So I can kind of see that argument that it's a little bit harder to track them. But I don't know that I feel like this was a little too much, but I get it. Stompies did need to have some kind of trade off. The airborne effectiveness I felt like was fine though, honestly. I guess too many people are still using them. They want them to use other things. That's one thing I've never liked about way Bungie does stuff sometimes. I get that they want people to use other things, but like that doesn't necessarily mean you need to gut something like this. Maybe you need to kind of readdress how things are working. Maybe you need to introduce a new game mode that's a little bit different. It makes you have to worry about different things. You know what I mean? It's not really my job to say anything. I'm not a game dev by any means. I don't make games. But, just that's what I would think you'd want to do, not necessarily destroy it. I feel like that's going to hurt it a lot. But I don't know. Getting dodge back also isn't that hard. Anyways, going on, Mask of Baccaris. Changed to use a tier 4 non-stacking weapon damage buff, which behaves the same as the non-stacking. This is what I was talking about with those tiers earlier. Provided by Surge Mods. Damage bonus increased from 10 to 25. That's nice. And now grants 6% bonus weapon damage in PvP. No longer stacks with Surge Leg Armor mods. So that's going to suck. But provides a larger bonus than achieved with 3 such mods equipped. I get that they don't want stuff stacking anymore. I don't know. This is more of just kind of a thing with me. I don't like them changing how things stack at all. I don't think it's fun. I think it kind of waters it down a little bit. Because, a lot of, what I enjoy with, other games that are like this is I like the idea of, I have to get this buff, I need to stack this one. I like the idea of buffing up doing damage, and you just kind of are like, I've done 2 things, now it's time to do damage. And I feel like that's something that just doesn't really happen in the game that much. I think this is a fine change, honestly. I mean, it makes Mask of Baccaris a little bit stronger. I just don't know. I just don't know that it's necessarily enough. I haven't used Baccaris in a while. If I recall, it used to do 10% for slowing and for arc weapons, correct? So does that mean it's going to be 25% for slow and arc weapons? If that's still how it works, I could be wrong. I don't know if that functionality is still there. Again, I haven't used Baccaris in a while. I don't use Stasis Hunter, which that's a whole other discussion. Stasis is just in a bad spot. I think that's another thing, too. If they stack, that's cool. But you get 50%. That'd be kind of cool. But Stasis is just not in a great place right now, man. They really do need to go back and really touch on Stasis. The only thing that makes Stasis good right now, or good in a relative sense, is just some of the exotics. And it's just not good. Alright, my Titans are up. We got fucking Stoneface Steve Austin over here. Titan. Alright, so point contact, cannon brace. Alright, I'd like to see this. Lightning strikes now. Jolt targets. That's good. Increased PvE damage per lightning bolt from 50 to 100. That's pretty nice. That's a big buff. Being amplified now increases the damage of the lightning strikes by 50%. So they're going up to 200 and they're getting that buff. Those lightning strikes might do a lot of damage. I don't know. I'm not going to lie, I haven't used point contact. As soon as I saw how other people were saying it was performing, I just kind of got it just for the collection and then just kind of ditched it. That is a pretty big buff to damage, though. You're going from, 50, 100, 200, blah, 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 blah. You're going up a lot. You're doing more than triple, double. That quadruple, I think. Anyways, it's a lot of extra damage. That might be interesting. We'll see. Be a fun build to make nonetheless. No backup plans. This is a complete rework, replacing the old functionality entirely. Now provides a moderate benefit to the airborne effectiveness and reload speed of shotguns. While you have Avoid Overshield, shotguns deal additional damage, and shotgun final blows refresh your overshield. That's very interesting. I'll talk about that in just a second. While using Avoid subclass, rapid shotgun final blows or defeating a powerful enemy with a shotgun grants you Avoid Overshield and kicks off your health regeneration. This would be good for aping in PvP. Let's be real. Backup plans were already kind of nice for that just because you got a overshield. Just being able to just kind of perpetually do that and get some health regeneration will be nice. The big thing I am interested in is shotguns deal additional damage when you have a Void over Shield. Um, could we see a Legend of Acrius meta? That might be kind of interesting, especially if, again, the stacks. Again, they're kind of talking about those tiers and stuff like that, but they're not talking about like what stacks and doesn't. So I don't know if the idea is if they say it, but they don't say it's non-stacking, it stacks. But I'm interested to see. This might be a really interesting change. Going on. Second chance, shield throw now weakens enemies. That's a really good change. Stunning a barrier with your shield now grants a full melee charge. That should have been in the beginning. That I'm surprised that wasn't like part of it. That was something I really wondered when I had first gotten it, because I really thought it was going to give you your shield back. But it didn't, and I thought that was really stupid. I'm surprised it took them this long to make that a functionality. Because like if you're gonna stun a barrier with it, like you should just get it back, because that's like the whole point of it. Because otherwise you're just waiting on a cooldown the whole time, and like if you're gonna use it for content, it's just I don't know why that wasn't part of it. Shield throw now weakens enemies. That'll be really fun. I put a build out not too long ago, if anybody's seen that, about how like second chance with controlled demolition, you can kind of be kind of nasty with it. You can kind of do the same thing with armamentarium. I know somebody talked about that in the comments on either YouTube or TikTok. I don't remember. That build will just be more fun now. If you want the truth, you'll weaken enemies and you'll put them under controlled demolition. This will honestly be really good for ad clear and for barriers. I don't think this will be a bad exotic by any means, but the thing is like there's just kind of things that are better. So that's kind of the thing that sucks if you really want to be optimal. But if you're like me, sometimes it's not about optimal. Sometimes it's just about having fun. I know not everybody's kind of in that wheelhouse, but that's kind of how I feel. Anyways, Stronghold, replace the healing from block shots precisely to a damage reduction, 50% in PvE. That's pretty nice. 10% in PvP while blocking with a sword. When you stop blocking, gain restoration times 2. That's interesting. With a duration that increases based on the number of shots you blocked. The original heal on Perfect Guard was swapped out for damage reduction. Releasing the block was effective. Meaning this also pairs with Lament. Okay. I don't know that I like the instant healing being gone. Restoration times 2 is super strong and stuff like that. Do not get me wrong. But that instant healing was kind of nice if you were like dealing with something that would like one-shot you. Like if you knew something was going to kill you, like you instantly were like boom back in it. Or if you knew that there was stuff around you that was going to kill you quickly even after that stronghold procced. Restoration times 2 kind of gets rid of that though. Restoration times 2 is super, super, super strong. But we'll see. I think that's a good change. I think it'll make it more user-friendly now, kind of like what they talked about. Strongholds are already good. If you haven't used Strongholds, use them. They're very fun. They really are. I probably should make a build about those. I don't know that I've made a build about them yet, but Stronghold might be something I do here soon. Eternal Warrior. Rapid takedowns with arc weapons grants an escalating bonus to arc weapon damage. This sounds just like Path. Using the same non-stacking damage bonuses used by Surge mods. Let's go to Tier 4. Here they are talking about the Tier 4 again. Granting a damage bonus of 25% PvE, 6% PvP. Same thing as earlier with like Bacchus. Providing a larger bonus, then can be activated with 3 Surge mods equipped. While at Tier 4 damage bonus, arc kills refresh the bonus's duration. After your Fist of Havoc super ends, you gain the Tier 4 damage bonus. So it's basically just Path of Burning Steps, but for arc. But it's also, that's another thing too. It's only a bonus to arc weapon damage. It's not a bonus to all weapon damage. Path of Burning Steps, like you could use a solar weapon, but then if you swap to like a kinetic weapon, it still had the bonus on it. I think that's fine. I think that's a change that it needed. Eternal Warrior wasn't used except for like hot swapping in PvP when that used to still be a thing. But I mean, not swap exists now, so why would you even worry about it? I think it's good. The only thing is you have to use Fist of Havoc. Fist of Havoc just needs help. It got buffed, but it just wasn't enough. It really needs help, especially when Thunder Crash exists. They say Fist of Havoc specifically. Yeah, they did make that comment at the beginning that it's going to keep its functionality, so you'll still get the Overshield. It'd be nice if when you hit Thunder Crash, it would also do this, but I don't know. Honestly, just use Thunder Crash, but use this if you want your weapons to do more. Like, I don't see why I should run Fist of Havoc. If the tier 4 damage bonus isn't hard to get, then I don't think it's really worth running Fist of Havoc just to get it. Because if you can just get it from getting that escalating bonus, I don't see why it would matter. I guess that's a change. That's a good change. I mean, it's fun if you want to use arc weapons. I just don't know that that's really gonna make people use Fist of Havoc, and I kind of think that's what they're wanting you to do here, and I don't think that's gonna like achieve that. Khepri's Horn, Solar Damage Wave now scorches targets. That's pretty good. I mean, Khepri's Horn isn't the most amazing thing in the world. I did a build on it a little while ago once again. It's pretty fun. I enjoy Khepri's. It's one of those things, though, that it's just never going to be amazing, and I think I know why it can't be amazing. You know what I mean? Because, like, the problem is, like, if you make it too amazing, it will really be a problem if you just can use your class ability and just mow stuff down. Especially with, like, the Dreggers, whatever they are, lashes on Titan now. Like, being able to kill too much too easily and being able to spend afterwards would be a little too much. So, I still think it's a good change though. Now scorches targets. It'll be fun to use with solar now. Some of the fragments. Path of Burning Steps. This is nerf territory. I can feel it. Change to use a non-stacking weapon damage buff. Yep, there it is. This can no longer go all the way up to tier 4. My phone just went off because I'm an idiot. Alright. Granting a damage bonus 25% PvE, 6% PvP. Provide a larger bonus than can be achieved with 3 surge mods equipped. While at tier 4 damage bonus, solar kills refresh the bonus's duration. Becoming encased immediately grants you the tier 4 damage bonus. Yeah, that kind of sucks, honestly. It's getting a huge nerf in how much damage it just did in general. I think it went up to like 35 or 40. I think it was 40%. And now it's going all the way down to 25%, and it doesn't stack. I mean, I get it. It was doing a lot of damage. I just don't know. I kind of understand when they do this stuff like that, but the timer's already kind of short on Firewalker, or the bonus from Path of Burning Steps, that I don't feel like it's really that big of a deal. Like, you're not really going to be able to use it in true honest to goodness raid content, because like you have to get it, you'll have to get the kills, and then you only really have 10 seconds. And like, even if you're set up and good to go real quick, you're probably going to lose it kind of quickly. And honestly, with stuff like Curace and stuff like that, like, there's not really a reason to do that either. I don't know. I don't feel like it was a huge deal, but I can understand kind of bringing it down in line and not wanting our weapons to be super, super powerful. So, like, I get it, but at the same time, I don't know. I guess it's because I kind of like Path that I didn't really want it to get hit that hard. Because I like Path of Burning Steps a lot, but it's fine. I get it. It's gonna suck, but it's gonna suck that it doesn't stack with like surge mods. It's still gonna be good. I don't know how I feel about them doing like the doesn't stack with surge mods. Like, I understand the idea is like so you don't have to use surge mods, but like with surge mods, the timer on surge mods is really high, especially with like elemental time dilation. Um, if you're gonna make these exotics like willing to like replace them, you have got to go and update their timers. Because 10 seconds is like that's a standard armor charge, but like I can get multiple armor charges. Once I get path up, like if I just don't get kills for a little bit, it's just gone. I think they'll have to mess with that stuff if they want them to like fulfill the role they're wanting them to do. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see, but I think what they're wanting to do, they're not going to achieve with what they're trying to do. But this could be kind of a sweep at some exotics, and then maybe they'll come back. Well, who knows? Dune Marchers. Oh my goodness, I hate Dune Marchers. Reduce the range of the chain from 20 to 12, and PvP damage from 85 to 50. I think that's good. The only thing I really don't like about Dune Marchers, truthfully, like, Dune Marchers are a pain in the butt. I think the damage reduction was exactly a big thing that it needed. What I don't like about Dune Marchers, though, is that Dune Marchers is really funky with how it hits you. With anybody who's ever seen me play PvP before, which I occasionally will stream that over my Twitch. I don't like to stream PvP too much because I suck at it, because I just... As I said before, I'm in fact a mid-tier gamer. I'm bad at PvP, and I know it. I don't know if it's just because my nerves get to me or what it is, but I'm bad at it. And one thing I always didn't like about Dune Marchers is like sometimes like somebody will be like on the other side of like a wall. They'll get the Dune Marchers hit, and then I'll get hit with it. There was one time when I was playing with one of my friends recently where we were on Bannerfall, and where that little like plant is there at B, or that whatever you want to call it, he had gotten Dune Marchers like on the other side of it, and the Dune Marchers had reached through it to hit me. Um, and it's not like that's a thin thing. That's a very solid object that's there. It's not like a thin wall or anything. So it's just there's not a line of sight. I feel like if there's not a line of sight, Dune Marcher should not hit you, and it does sometimes. And maybe that's like a latency issue or something. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I do. But stuff like that happens a lot with Dune Marchers, I feel like, and I don't like that. And I think that's like my only like real complaint about them, truthfully, is like getting hit when I am not in line of sight of them at all. But again, that's just something that maybe can't be helped for all I know. But anyways, it's a good nerf. I think. I don't think that's bad at all. It'll still be good. I don't think it'll be bad by any means. Warlock mains rise up. Let's go. Vesper of Radius. Your rifts emit a small arc shockwave every 5 seconds that deal damage. 200 in PvE, 70 in PvP. The 200 in PvE, that's going to be the same as the point braces, if I remember them. Or the point whatever cannon brace. I forgot the name now. I'm sitting here blanking. I think 200 is what they said for it too. So we'll see. If it's good, then this might be decent too. Enemies defeated by these shockwaves explode for an additional 100 damage. That's kind of nice. So basically like a chain reaction. If you have an arc subclass equipped, also blinds nearby enemies. It's a buff. I don't think it's really gonna do much for it. Your rift doesn't stay up very long, like 15, 20 seconds. I think it's 15, maybe. I don't remember exactly, but every 5 seconds, like you're not really gonna have too many arc shockwaves that happen. I guess it might be kind of good if like you're like somebody who gets caught with their pants down a lot. Like if you notice you get caught a lot of times, like in a situation, this actually might be a really good thing for you because you could throw it out, blind enemies if you're on arc, and then it would kind of do damage periodically. I think it's a pretty good change if you're going to do something like that. It fulfills a role. So like that's what I kind of like is when they make it like fulfill a role. And this kind of fulfills that whole thing of like if you want to just dive in and not have to worry too much, you can kind of, because then you could just blind and do your thing. Like there's other things that can do this, and that kind of sucks, but it does kind of fulfill that. Again, I don't think this is anything amazing, but if you are somebody who gets caught with their pants down a lot, I think this would be a great exotic for you to start using until you kind of get that situational awareness a little bit more. Chromatic Fire, oh, please be a good buff. I love Chromatic Fire so much, and I want it to be better. Increases the radius and damage of the explosions created by precision kinetic takedowns. That's good. These explosions also apply a status effect to targets damaged by it, depending on what subclass you have equipped. Blind for Arc, Scorch, Solar, Slow for Stasis, Sever for Strand, and Weaken for Void. That's a really good change. I like that. The only thing I think I still don't like about Chromatic Fire, and the only thing that I wish they'd get rid of, is the precision kinetic takedowns. I would love to be able to use like a kinetic grenade launcher with this, and it basically have like a chain reaction-esque like thing. Like I get a kill with like my Pardon Our Dust, and like it kills some stuff around it. So I kind of wish they'd get rid of that, but it's fine. I mean, I get it too. You don't want stuff to be too strong, and you probably could get a little too freaky with that. I think this will be fun with Osteo, especially on the Weaken Void. Being able to just use Osteo, gets a kill, spreads out the Weaken, and spreads out the poison right after. I think that would be really fun. Chromatic Fire is fun. Outbreak would be fun with this, I feel like. Stasis, Slow, Scorch from Solar. You basically just get Incandescent as long as you can get precision as long as you can get precision kills. You basically have just instant Incandescent for your kinetics. That's nice. So yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's a very nice change. I like that. I don't like the precision kinetic takedowns because that gets rid of some of your weapons that you'd like to use. Kind of like GLs and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Dawn Chorus is up. Daybreak projectiles bonus has been increased and no longer is reliant on the enemy being scorched. That's good. That's a nice change. I didn't like having to prime before I did everything. I feel like it was one of those things that like if you're gonna do something like buffs a super especially, it really shouldn't require setup too much, other than like you know, like debuffing an enemy and stuff like that. Like when you have to do like very meticulous, not necessarily meticulous, but when you have to do like weird setup just to make it like better, I'm not super into that. Like I understand like having to like stack buffs, stack debuffs and stuff like that. But especially when you're using an exotic that just lasts for like a little bit of time, to me it really needs to be more instantaneous, more it does this, this is what it does. I feel like a lot of the super like exotics, super enhancing exotics need to do that. Cuz like if it's not just like doing something immediately with that super, you're not getting like benefits in the meantime very much with a lot of these. You know what I mean? Not to say that you don't at all. But yeah, I think it's a good change regardless. Sanguine, or penguins. Standing in a rift grants a non-stacking weapon damage based on subclass damage type. This damage bonus is the equivalent of 2 leg mods, 17% in PvE and 4.5% in PvP. That's nice. But the only problem I have with Sanguine right now is like it all revolves around being in that rift, and like it is hard to just stay in a rift. Like, cause like a lot of like the encounters in the game now too, cause like Destiny really learned from like D1 that people didn't like get to this location, sit and do something for a while. They know that people like to like move around and be a little bit more dynamic. So you don't have a lot of places where you just like sit tight that much in this game anymore. So I just feel like this isn't really gonna be what they want it to be. I think that's nice. Equivalent of 2 Surge Leg mods. I don't know. I've never tested this. I know it doesn't extend well, but does it still work in well, I guess? If this would work in well, that may not be bad, because especially if it's giving 2 Surge mods. If that stacks, oh no, it just said non-stacking. Just kidding. Yeah, no, I just don't see how this would be worth it. I really think they should have just went with 3 Surge mods. I don't think 2 was good enough, because you're sitting down and you're hunkering down there, and that's it. So I can't. Again, what they're trying to do with it, I don't think is going to be achieved. Like, if I need a weapon damage buff and I need it like periodically, I'm probably going to run something that'll kind of keep my radiant up. You know, use dang, I can't remember that fragment off the top of my head. Whatever Ember lets you continue to keep radiant up with solar weapon kills or solar kills in general. Like, I'll just run that. It'll be better. That's just kind of how it is. I get what they're trying to do. I just don't think it's enough. But it's a buff nonetheless. Clawzom Kara, powered weapon, curated an orb of power that gave it heavy-handed. When heavy-handed mods are equipped, increase the potency of the orb spawned. Okay, so they gave it heavy-handed. That's cool. That's nice. There's not really much else to say. That's nice. That's a good change. I think more mods should do that. They did that with like Lucky Pants at one point, back with the old mod system. They gave it hand cannon holster. Excuse me, that's gonna sound awful in the audio. Sorry for everybody. I'll try to edit that out if I can remember it. Let's think. I would be more inclined for a lot more exotics if they kind of do stuff like that. I don't think it's a bad idea. Start giving exotics like this exotic just has this mod intrinsically. Rather than kind of like what they're trying to do with like Path of Burning Steps, like, oh, this is better than Surge mods. Yeah, but you're on like a really like strict timer that you cannot increase at all other than like getting kills. And like you're using those Surge mods, like don't get me wrong, you use it in general play, but like you really want to use those Surge mods when things are like when you get like a big beefy enemy. And like when you're like on a timer that requires like kills and stuff like that, you can't really guarantee that as much as like making an orb. Like if you know that something's coming up that's going to be beefy, you can leave an orb right there, or you can like cast a super real quick and like get some orbs off of it. Like it's a lot more like I can do that on demand. But like if I'm just like using path and stuff like that, it just doesn't work very well. But I think that wouldn't be bad. Like intrinsically putting the mods on them, I think it would be interesting, and I think it would do more for them. You could be a little bit more ambitious. Weapon bonus damage. It's Mantle of Battle Harmony. I don't know if I said that. Weapon damage bonus. Increases tier 4. Super is fully charged. Increases damage bonus from 20 to 25%. That's nice. Reducing the damage bonus from 15 to 6% in PvP. I don't feel like that was really that much of a problem, but I get it. It's a very easy, like, get a kill and then you have a buff. So, no longer stacks with Surge leg mods. Of course it doesn't, because why would it? But provides a larger bonus to be achieved with 3 such mods. Demonstrating close your subclass type and now stacking with Empowering Rift. That's interesting. Now stacks with Empowering Rift. So does that mean all of these non-stacking mods go with Empowering Rift? Well, I guess they said no longer stacks with Surge mods. They said stacks with Surge mods specifically. This might be pretty interesting, especially if you're somebody who holds your super and doesn't use it very often. This would actually be, I don't think this would be bad at all. I think this might be really fun with something like Aggers, honestly. If you kind of want to like hold Aggers until you really do it. I know Mantle of Battle Harmony, that was a fun thing to do when Aggers first came out. Get your super quick, use Aggers. I think this is fine. No longer stacks with Surge mods. That kind of sucks, but that is what it is. But it stacks with Empowering Rift, so that could be really nice. And then increase the base duration from 6 to 10 seconds. Again, I really think they need to be more than 10 seconds. And 3 to 5 in PvP. Like, 10 seconds just isn't enough, man. Like, time dilation mods exist. Like, if you're going to do this, like, you have got to make it so, like, we can use time dilation mods on, like, our armor or something. I just don't feel like 10 seconds is enough. I feel like if you're going to make Surge mods the way that they are, you got to increase these timers, too. Because the trade-off you're trying to make, like, at least with this one, Empowering Rift stacks with it, so this is a little bit better. But, like, some of these other ones we've been seeing, like Eternal Warrior, Path of Burning Steps, again, just kind of using them as examples. Like, it's just not gonna work great like that. It's too inconsistent. Like, if you're going to like make these changes and you want to like do like this can satisfy this so that you do not have to use X, Y, and Z, you have got to be like consistent with how these things are gonna work so that it makes sense to do this. Because like the trade-offs just don't make sense with how surges work and stuff like this right now. This one a little bit, at least with Empowering Rift. At least like there's something like, yes, you have less time, yes, you can't like stack with elemental time dilation, but you have this other thing that also stacks with it, and it already does more than surges, so you know it at least has something. There's something there that validates this a little bit more, and it just wasn't there with the others. But anyways, regardless, fitting aspects, get rid of the melee. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Extend the melee range is gone. Create some strange situations with player lunge. Player lunge has been bad lately, I've noticed. The general way that enemies have been like in PvP, we did Flawless last weekend, and it was really there's been a lot of strange things that happen. There was a lot of times when I was playing with my buddies and like we'd go around the corner and like they would, I guess, do a melee before on their screen we went around the corner, and they would like lunge around the corner into us and hit us. And it's just but they're kind of talking about it there, but again, that has to do with latency and stuff like that. Prometheum Spurs, grant Rift energy for solar weapon takedowns with more energy granted solar weapon takedowns than standing in a Rift. Also, you know have to be standing in a Rift when you get a final blow with the exotic. Consume your class ability energy and create a Rift at target's location. Okay, so that's nice. I like this right here. To consume your class ability, you have to be like, and where is it at? Okay, you have to be standing in a Rift. I like that a lot because that was one thing I didn't really like about Prometheum Spurs is when you just kind of started like popping off and stuff like that, it would just kind of make the rifts for you, and like that's cool, but that's not really what I want. Like I want it to be more on demand, and this kind of fulfills that. The only thing is you kind of have to stand with your rift. I wish you could almost do like an alternate fire-esque mode with your exotic, but that might be asking too much, and I'm sure that would bug with other exotics that actually have alternate firing modes. But that's something. I like it. It's on demand, and I enjoy that. And then Starfire Protocol, big nerf. I already know that this is going to be a big nerf. Reduce the amount of energy gain from 20% to 2.5%. Power weapon kills now grant 20% grenade energy. And then they're talking about it. I already read this one because this is the first thing I was curious about because I guaranteed it was getting neutered. It is. I think it's a good change. I think 2.5% might be a little too much as far as energy gain per damage. But the trade-off that I really doesn't hurt my feelings too much is empowered weapon kills give you 20% grenade energy. Like, it's going to be more for, like, ad clear and stuff like that now. It may not be good for, like, great, like, super damage, but you already have well. Like, you can use other things. You can use, like, if you really want to, like Izzy auto loading rocket, or you can use, if you don't like using Izzy, you can use an auto loading Vorpal like Riptide with a rocket or something like that. I don't think this is really a bad change. I think a lot of people were worried that it's going to get neutered. Getting empowered weapon kills now grant 20% grenade energy. Just being able to get kills and still get the grenade energy, I think will be nice. It'll just make it more of an ad clear rather than like a boss thing like a lot of people have been using it for. They've been using it for like boss damage and stuff like that. And it was a little too much. Like being able to like solo raid bosses and stuff like that with this exotic was annoying. And I don't know that that's even going to be possible anymore. It might be. Some bracers are really good, so. But yeah, I think it's a good change. I don't think it's a bad change. I think some people might be thinking this is like going to put it in the trash can, but again, the empowered weapon kill is giving 20%. It's going to be nice. Like I said, I think it's just going to make it more. It's just going to make it more of an ad clear tool rather than a damage tool. Not to say you can't use it for damage. You'll be able to use it still some. Like I said, you'll be able to use like maybe 1 or 2 per damage phase, which by all means is fine. I really wouldn't have been against keeping it if they maybe just toned down like fusion grenade damage. I think fusion grenade damage was probably one of like the biggest problems like it's genuinely had. Like fusion grenades are just really strong right now. I mean, there's not really much more or less to it. Fusion grenades are super strong, especially on Warlock. That second explosion's like a little too much damage. I think I would have preferred that, like tone down the damage, but maybe keep what it had going for it. Because it's kind of nice having like a grenade build where like I can really consistently get grenades. Not to say you don't have other builds where you can, like Devour's really good and stuff like that, but I don't know. It was kind of nice, but like I get it. There really wasn't a trade off. Now there's kind of a trade off to it all. It's just not as good. I think those were good changes. Some of them, again, kind of like what I was talking about, really aren't changes that I think do what they're intending to do. So that just kind of is what it is. But anyways, that's that. Again, if you watch through this video, I know this is going to be a longer video, so by all means, do not feel like you have to watch it all. But if you did come through to the end here, kind of let me know how you feel about the video. I know we're starting to grow a little bit more now. You know, we finally hit 100 subscribers. Super excited for that. Let me know how you feel about this kind of content, if you'd like more of it. If not, like I said, I'd kind of like to keep it in this way, but if maybe you all like more of like a script style, we can totally do that. Again, I just kind of want to, this kind of provides like a reaction for me as well. You kind of get to say like, again, what really just hits me in the moment. So feel free. Other than that, that's that. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for the stream this evening. Again, we'll be streaming at about 8 EST. I'll be staying up and then playing Tears of the Kingdom when it drops. Other than that, I'll see you all next time.